Hi friends, welcome to this latest episode of the Nationalist View, and we have with us a very special guest today, Mr. Salah Uddin Shoaib Choudhury Saab. Sir, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us. And Mr. Choudhury is founder editor of Blitz, one of the topmost weeklies in Bangladesh. He's also a counterterrorism expert. He contributes to various international publications and journals also, and he's quoted extensively by the South Asian media as well as the global media. So, Mr. Chaudhary, you recently wrote an article titled Turkish Intelligence Targets India. Erdogan's expanding footprint near New Delhi raises concerns. We'll also be sharing the link of this article because our discussion is going to be around this article. So, a very interesting article got a lot of traction on social media also and has created a lot of buzz, and you have given very strong evidence about it. So, first, I would like you to elaborate a little bit more about this article as far as our viewers are concerned. And second, how serious is the alleged Turkish, I would say alleged, actually, how serious is the Turkish surveillance of Indian organizations? And you mentioned a particular organization called India Log in your article, which was being monitored by Turkey. So, was the monitoring of the India Log Foundation an isolated case, or is it part of a wider intelligence network of Turkey?
Thank you very much, Arunji. As we know, that India Look Foundation is connected to anti-Erdoğan Hizmet movement, which is inspired by late Islamic scholar Fethullah Gulen, who was a long-time critic of Erdogan. In this particular case, main reason behind Ankara's intelligence surveillance of India Look Foundation is because of that reason. We still are unsure if this is the only case where Turkish intelligence is surveilling an Indian organization. What we know, Erdogan regime is targeting all possible organizations and individuals which confront the Islamist dictatorship in Ankara. For example, in Bangladesh, similar hostility was seen with Turkish International Hope School and other institutions. Advanced intelligence apparatus has also notorious has also been also gained bad name for its notorious and extreme actions against critics that include attempt of assassination. So another point we need to remember, Turkish Al Qaeda, which is known as IHH or a Foundation for Human Rights and Freedoms and Humanitarian Relief, IHH, is maintaining connections with various terror groups in India. Back in 2018, leaders of India's jihadist group, Popular Front of India, traveled to Turkey and held series of meetings with IHS counterparts as well as Turkish intelligence. So, in brief, I can only say at this moment that IHH is expanding its footprint in India, and most alarmingly, it is also expanding its footprint within northeastern states of India. Uh, and we know what Turkey wants. Turkey is almost the Xerox copy of Pakistan. I mean, Pakistani ISI and Turkish MIT both have common agenda of exporting terror and encouraging, facilitating religious extremism and Islamism. So Turkey's intelligence in Indian Northeast, you know that already there were several Bangladeshi nationals of the Lashkar-e-Taiba who were arrested in the Indian northeastern states very recently, and then American citizen arrested while doing something wrong with the again in the same region. So American mercenaries, Ukrainian mercenaries, Turkish intelligence, Pakistani ISI, all together were uh, crowd going to these particular areas in northeast and also other parts of India. This is a very serious security threat, I think.
Sir, how Turkey has built this two-track strategy against India, as I can see it, that one is this covert surveillance and on which is on the ground activity, and the other one, which is a very significant thing, is information war through its TRT World. It's basically the Al Jazeera of Turkey. So, and as far as I know, they have brought in the publicity wings of all the Islamic terrorist organizations together, and they have now they are working under the guidance of and in close synergy with TRT, and TRT is using them also to drive the narrative, and especially the anti-India narrative. We also saw that in Operation Sindoor and after Operation Sindoor also, that how TRT, apart from the Chinese propaganda arms, helped Pakistan build a fake narrative. So how you being part of the media also, you understand information warfare. Uh, so how do you see at basically this two-track strategy? How do you look at it? And especially, I want you to focus a little more on the role of TRT world.
Uh, First of all, indeed, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is using intelligence operations in India the same way he has used them against critics and dissidents abroad. Mm. But the most vulnerable are, in this case, Turkish dissidents and other professionals who counter Erdogan's brutality and dictatorship. At the same time, we need to remember under Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Ankara has been vigorously pushing forward the ambition of Islamic conquest that would bring many countries under the umbrella of so-called Neo-Ottoman Empire. So Turkish intelligence agencies, including MIT, are also facilitating various Islamist terror outfits with the agenda of using those entities in actualizing Erdogan's ambition of reviving the so-called Ottoman Empire. MIT also is supplying weapons to those Islamist terror groups, and I am afraid if they are also doing the same in India. Now, as to the your question about the role of TRT World, as we know, that Turkey under Erdogan uses its media outlets, including TRT World, in spreading propaganda against targeted countries, organizations, and individuals. In this case, of course, TRT World would be used as a key propaganda tool by Erdogan regime in spreading misinformation and bogus propaganda against India, including nationalist leaders and organizations. This is not only that TRT is facilitating jihadist activities inside India, it is also targeting the nationalist forces, which is very dangerous. And it means that the Turkey, Erdogan, and its propaganda outlets together they pose serious threat to India's national security. At the same time, India's sovereignty.
I want to talk a little bit more about TRT world. So why has TRT world become so central to Ankara's anti-India narrative, especially when it comes on Kashmir and Pakistan?
As I have said, Arunji, the TRT world is the media vehicle of Erdogan's Islamist agenda. In this case, it is giving coverage to various terror outfits, including those in Kashmir. In the jihadist terror, Turkey and Pakistan are working with common goals of causing damage to non Muslim nations and generate and encourage terrorist, and subversive acts. So naturally, Pakistani ISI, Turkish MIT, they are working, if not together, with a common agenda as partners in implementing their jihadist agenda against India. And again, I would like to say that it is not only that Erdogan is using TRT World against India, or it is in favor of the terrorist groups in Kashmir and other places. We should also remember that Erdogan's Turkey is also making heavy investments in media. I mean, in buying the voice of media. They are offering money, they are paying money to the media outlets, buying journalists, buying think tanks, buying analysts, and that's why you will see in India, inside India, many of the so-called secularist outlets and secularist think tanks are individuals. For example, I did not want to mention the name, but I will mention Arundhati Roy. So she has been consistently barking against India. Or there are some other journalists in the mainstream media in India, Muslim journalists, and also non-Muslim. They are actually working as if they are the voice of Pakistan or voice of ISI, because so far we have been surveilling Arunji in India, I should say, that what are the activities of Pakistan inside India, or how far is the penetration of ISI inside India. But here is the different avenue aspect, Turkey and MIT. And when it is Turkey and MIT, so I mean, naturally, they don't need to meet the Indian journalists or think tank or experts in Dubai. They can meet them in other countries, for example, Thailand. So if you please will look through the travel itinerary of those journalists, think tank individuals, and experts in India who are critical to nationalist forces, you will see they have been very frequently making trips to United States, to UK, and new nations, Thailand, uh, and Nepal, Myanmar, and other countries, because there they meet their counterpart of MIT counterpart, and they receive the payment. And as far as the modus operandi of payment, Turkish MIT mostly makes payment in Bitcoin, I mean cryptocurrency. So when this cryptocurrency, crypto wallet, very difficult to identify, but I can almost guarantee that whoever, individual or media personalities, journalists, think tanks, experts, talking against the nationalist forces of India, or showing sympathy towards Hamas, for example, or Hezbollah, or shedding crocodile tear when Iran is attacked, rest assured that they are financially backed by MIT.
Sir, my last question is Turkey under Erdogan emerging not just as a hub for Islamist influence, but also as a hub for disinformation and intelligence warfare, especially when it comes to South Asia?
Arunji, you and I both know that Pakistan is a non-NATO terror breeding factory. But with Turkey, it's a very different thing. The Turkey under Erdogan is, although another terror breeding factory, but it is very much within the NATO nations. And for many of the Western countries, including United States, they are a bit shy in taking any stern measures against Turkey, because Turkey is a NATO nation. So we have already, we can say, two terror breeding factories in this region. I mean, one is the Pakistan, and then nearest region, we can say, is Turkey. So this is very dangerous phenomenon for anyone, for individuals like you who are consistently researching and checking the activities of the terrorist operatives and organizations in this part of the world. So, I mean, this is very dangerous. The two terror factories now, one is inside the non-NATO nation, another inside the NATO nation. And ultimately, the Turkey being the NATO nation and a terror beating factory, it will not only pose threat to India, it will also, of course, it will actually the ISI also poses threat to Israel in, indefinitely, and Pakistan ISI is a very um, strong counterpart of Iranian intelligence as well. So they pose threat to Israel and the Middle Eastern countries, but Turkey it poses much serious threat to Israel, and including the NATO nations and the United States. And before concluding, I would like to say that according to just received information, that Turkey has already established, Turkey has helped Iranian IRGC in establishing 1,000, more than 1,000 sleeper cells in Europe. And this report I was just reading, and I'm going to write something about that. So Turkey not only is spreading terrorism within its neighboring nations and in the Middle East and inside Israel, inside India, Bangladesh, it is also now helping IRGC in exporting terrorist activities inside the European nations and Western nations.
Thank you so much, sir, for decoding all this. And it was a wonderful article. And I'm going to share the link of this article. I'm also going to share the link of the YouTube channel of Blitz and the website of, Blitz. So you can go and read regular updates and a lot of exposes on this website. And Mr. Chaudhary has joined us from Bangladesh, Dhaka. And thank you so much, sir, for joining the show and decoding all this. We hope to host you back again soon, and we'll be soon having another conversation. Thank you so much, viewers, for watching. Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, again for joining the show.
Thank you very much to you, Arunji, and also the National Review for kindly granting me the opportunity of appearing in your prestigious channel. And it is my great honor in always with you.